this is what I call the transition section of our spiral thing. So coming back onto all fours. Once again, allow yourself to shift weight, find some stability with movement, not with anything rigid. Let's bring the knees all the way together underneath you. And as you inhale, stretch the right leg back and away, slight dragging of the hands back. As you exhale, bring the right knee to the left elbow, round. Inhale, stretch the right leg back and away. And exhale, right knee to the left elbow. 2 more times. Inhale, extend it out and away. Exhale, knee to the opposite elbow. Let the hips shift. Again, try not to be rigid. Let the body kind of find its way organically. As you inhale, stretch the right leg back and away. And exhale, swing it out to the right side. Place the foot down on the floor, toes facing towards the front. Left hand underneath your head. We're going to start arm circles with the right arm, so reaching up and around. And let the chest spiral open as much as it can, and then let everything fold. So once again, as I'm circling the arm, I'm thinking about the relationship that changes through the spine, all the way down to the hips, all the way up to the crown of the head. Everything gets to follow this line of movement. And that's what allows me to feel different things as I travel through the legs, through the hips, through the shoulders. On the next inhale, reaching all the way up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, fold the right arm behind the back. See if you can grab a hold of the inner thigh of the left leg. If that's not possible, just grab a hold of your hip or the back of your leggings or your shorts and rotate that shoulder head up. Allowing the head to look up towards the ceiling if that's comfortable. If not, look down at your left hand. Breathe up into the chest. And once again, notice if anything's rigid, maybe keep some buoyancy in that left arm. As you exhale, release the right hand back down to the floor. Move the left hand a little bit out to the side. And just a little swing that right leg back and then bounce it all the way around to the front of the mat. Right foot comes in between the 2 hands, and we're just going to wake up into the psoas, into the hips, and the relationship to the back. I like to tuck my back toes under, but that's up to you. So I just start with a little pulsing sensation, having that first conversation with the psoas. You always have to think, this practice is a constant dialogue between the body and the breath. I want the mind to just be the witness, just be the observer, not somebody that really gets involved. So I'm just feeling what's going on down the pelvis, allowing a little range of motion. So allowing the hips to go from side to side, turning my head from side to side, so I start to feel the relationship of the fascial connections. And they're going to be different for all of us. What we feel in each one of us will feel different, as well as how we'll feel each day always changes as well. When I feel like I'm done with the exploration, I'm ready to arrive in stillness, make sure it feels supported, the feet are pushing down, the navel is lightly hugging in, the shoulders are soft, the back of the neck is long, and once again, the throat completely relaxed. One more breath there. Again, don't allow anything to get rigid, just keep negotiating. Remember, this conversation is allowed to have negotiations. On your next inhale, straighten through the right leg, walk your fingers and your toes round to the side. And once again, I don't want to get locked in my knees. I'm going to start playing with a little pyramid. Let's keep the left hand on the floor and the right arm opening up towards the ceiling. A little pulsing with the legs, a little bending and straightening. Finding that space, giving power in the feet and the legs as I do so. And then when I'm ready to hold stillness, I'm going to continue to reach up towards the ceiling, maybe enough to float that left hand off the floor. If this is too much for your hamstrings, remember, always just bend the knees. You can put a block underneath your hand if you need to. But getting this nice spiral, once again, it's a nice open spiral. It's not fixed in any particular way. I'm just finding where my spine is naturally going to be allowed to open and lengthen. As you exhale, bring both hands down. Walk your fingers and toes to face the back of the mat. Place both hands flat either side of that left foot and step back to downward facing dog for a waving vinyasa. If you've got wrist issues, you can always put the knees down on the floor and do the baby version. Inhaling with the heels round in the back. Watch your navel until the shoulders come forward. As you exhale, lower the hips down, lift the chest through, push the heels away. I'm going to take a few breaths here just to find space across the front of the body. Notice if anything is getting rigid. And once again, just allowing myself to negotiate that. Check in with what's working in the body and what's useful and what I can switch off. Something that's not useful. And then exhaling back to downward facing dog. And just having a little exploration in your downward facing dog as well. Just trying to feel what's going on in the hips, what's going on in the connection in the lower back, through the side body. So anything that you feel, you know you hold a little bit of tension somewhere, you tend to get rigid, you've got tight hamstrings or tight hips, always take your first downward facing dog to turn the conversation in that direction. And remember, it is a conversation. It's not a direct order. It's not forcing the body into one shape or another. It's having that conversation and asking the hamstrings, are they ready to do this now? Do they need a little bit more attention? Or a bit of softness, a bit of kindness sometimes. When you're ready to settle into stillness, remember, it's not rigid, it's not fixed. If it was really windy, I'd just sway with the wind. Every once in a while, remember to relax in the throat. Swallow deeply. And as you exhale, bring the knees back down to the floor, hands back underneath the shoulders. And we repeat the same thing on the left side. So bringing the knees all the way together. And starting by stretching that left leg back. Drag the hands back. As you exhale, knee to the opposite elbow. Inhale, stretch it back and away. And exhale, knee to the opposite elbow. Inhale, extend it back and away. And exhale, knee to the elbow. One last time. Inhale, lengthen the weight. Make sure the foot's really alive. And exhale, knee to the opposite elbow. As you inhale, extend it out and away. Swing the left leg out to the side. Place the toes down, facing towards the back of your mat. Right hand underneath the head. And the circles are going to start with the left arm, reaching forward, up and around. And again, now you have that opportunity to explore the relationship with the arm, the shoulder, and the spine. And changing direction. Using whatever's connected to the earth to kind of get that sense of bouncing up away from it, instead of just dumping the weight down into the earth. One more big circle. And then on your next inhale, reaching straight up towards the ceiling. Exhale, folding the left arm behind your back. Grab a hold of whatever's available, just to give you a little bit more resistance to open up through the left side of the chest, in the left collarbone. Remember, if it's uncomfortable on the back of the neck, turn and look your head down at your right arm. Just double check to make sure the right arm's not locked or rigid. There's a bit of buoyancy there. Breathing into the chest, breathing into the back. And then as you exhale, releasing the left hand, place both hands back underneath the shoulders again. Swing the left leg behind the right, and just a little push away, and then bounce off of that to swing the left foot all the way around in between the two hands. Now we're going to have a conversation with the right hip flexor, the right psoas. Once again, decide whether you want to tuck your toes under or not. And just a little pulsing here. It doesn't have to be a big movement. That's what we have to remember. Sometimes we think bigger is better. But really what responds, the fascia, responds much more kindly when we have a more intimate conversation with it. You know, just think about a really good conversation with a friend isn't necessarily about big broad subjects. It's much more intimate. So that's what you want to think. Your conversation with your body is really tuning into something that you're feeling way down in the hip. And deciding where is that energy going to move best. If I want to lengthen it, what's the right direction for me to move in to find some length and to find some power? When you're ready to move into stillness, again, make sure that the feet are fixed. So you want a foundation to lengthen away from. The navel's gently hugged in. The shoulders are relaxed. Everything can still be negotiated. Even in stillness, the breath is still pulsating in the body. The heart's still beating. We want to honor that natural rhythm in the body. On your next inhale, straighten through the left leg. And once again, turn towards the side. We're going back to our pyramid, this time opening up the left arm. And once again, a little bending and straightening, pulsing in the thighs. Finding that spiral, so allowing yourself to soften out of it a bit, and then reaching and lengthening a few more times. And then see if you've got enough power in those legs, through the navel, through the spine, to float the right arm. If it's too much for your hamstrings, keep the knees slightly bent. Keep that buoyancy in the spiral. One more breath there. And then as you exhale, bring both hands back down. Turn your fingers, turn your toes back to the front of your mat. Place the hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. And once again, have a nice wave as you inhale. Lift heels round in the back. Push the shoulders forward. As you exhale, lower the hips down. Lift the chest through. Once again, getting nice and buoyant in your upward facing dog. You can take one breath in and out here, or you can take 3 or 4 or 5, whatever feels good. That's always important. You want to make sure it feels right in your body. When you're ready, exhale, push the hands forward to send the hips back to downward facing dog. And then finding a bit of stillness in your downward facing dog. Check in with the shoulders, check in with the neck, the throat. Once again, just notice where you need to shift weight. Notice if your shoulders are creeping up around your ears. All of these things, just let them be negotiations, small negotiations. Settling into something that feels right for this moment. One more breath there. On your next exhale, bring the feet all the way together. Now we're going to explore a similar movement, but now from downward facing dog. So as you inhale, stretch your right leg up and back. Bend your left knee and take a few pulses with your left leg. So I'm just getting power in the left thigh. I'm trying to get some buoyancy there and keep some pressure off my shoulders. Knees going to the opposite elbow. So as you exhale, right knee to the left elbow. Inhale, push it back and away. Once again, getting the buoyancy in the left leg. Knee to the opposite elbow. Allow it to spiral. Find that spiral coming right from the navel. So that initiation of that navel allows the spiral to happen through the back. Exhaling, knee to the elbow. One more time. Push it back and away. Exhale, knee to the left elbow. Inhale, push it back and away. This time as you exhale, step the right foot in between the two hands. Let's start with the left knee down on the floor. Left hand a little bit wider than the shoulder. Turn the right knee and the right foot out. So once again, we're going back to some spirals with the arm. So feeling how that's waking up that connection into the back. And just a couple more, but make sure you go both directions. And then as you inhale, reaching up, if it's comfortable, pick up the left knee, push the left heel away. And then allow that arm to start working with gravity, sending it back as you lift the chest forward, making sure your left arm's got buoyancy, the chest is starting to rise up towards the ceiling. And notice, nothing's fixed here. It's still got that rhythm of the breath and that pulsation. And if you come to a sense of conclusion, like you want to hold complete fixed stillness, then go for that, but let the breath be your guide. Make sure the breath is nice and full and even. On your next exhale, place the right hand down. Turn the fingers and the toes once again to the side. And now we're going to start our pyramid, but we're going to change it up a little bit. So as you inhale, reach up with the right arm. Exhale, bend both knees, hands back down. Then to the left. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, down. Inhale, open it up, reach up. Exhale, bend both knees, reach down. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, bend both knees, reach down. Inhale, open it up. Hold it here for a moment. As you exhale, dive that right arm towards the left foot and place the left hand to the left hip behind you. Take a deep breath in, opening up through the spine, and exhale, think about the right shoulder moving down towards the floor, as opposed to kind of pulling your body to your leg. So think about that wrapping around of the right side of the rib cage. Allow yourself to shift weight between the hips until you find something that feels neutral. Same with the neck. Maybe make a few circles, small circles with the head and the neck, until you find a spiral that feels comfortable. One more breath there. And then, as you inhale, lift the chest, place the hands back down underneath your shoulders, and turning everything to face the back of your mat. Fingers and toes, place the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. A few breaths here. Once again, just check in. What does it feel like through the hamstrings, through the back, through the shoulders? And then when you're ready, a few waving vinyasas. Lifting the heel, rounding in the back, pushing the shoulders forward. Exhaling, hips moving down, chest moving through. Also, keep those feet alive, whether the heels are up or the tops of the feet are down. When you're ready, push the hands forward, send it back to downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, lift the heels, round in the back, rolling the shoulders forward. Exhaling, hips down, lift the chest through. And find out where your shoulders need to be in order to be supportive but not locked up around the ears. And then exhale, pushing the hands forward, send the hips back, downward facing dog. Just a few breaths here. Gently inching the feet a little bit closer together until they're right next to each other or sit bone distance apart, whichever feels more stable for you. As you inhale, lift the left leg now, bend the right knee. And a little pulsing. You want to get that buoyancy, you want to get that power in the right thigh. This is going to be so much more supportive than trying to make the shoulders do all the work. As you exhale, bringing the left knee towards the right elbow. Inhale, push it back and away. Go back to that bent right leg. Exhale, knee to the opposite elbow. Inhale, back and away. Exhale, twist it. Think of it coming from the navel one last time. Inhale, back and away. Exhale, knee to the elbow. Push it back and away. And then when you're ready, step the foot in between the two hands. Once again, let's start with the back knee down on the floor. Take the right hand a little bit wider than the right shoulder. Turn the left knees and toes out on about a 45-degree angle. Once again, finding these open spirals with the arm. And letting the shoulders negotiate where they need to be. So it becomes a movement that integrates into the spine and ripples out into the rest of the body. And going in both directions. And then the next time you're reaching up, kick through that back heel, your right foot, so the right knee comes off the floor. And then it's like a pulsing into a more open spiral. The rib cage wrapping open down the back. A shifting of weight between the 3 points that are on the floor. Checking in with the neck and the jaw and the throat. One more breath there. And then as you exhale, place the left hand down again. And then turn your toes, walk everything around, back to the side. for a little pyramid play. So bending the knees, opening up with the left arm and reach up. Exhale, bend both knees, hands down, opening up with the right arm to reach up. And again, bending, everything gets soft, and then everything expands. Everything gets soft, and then everything expands. One more time, everything gets soft. Everything expands. This time as you exhale, dive that left hand towards the right ankle. Place the right hand on the back. And once again, think of it, the shoulder, the left shoulder is now leading towards the right foot. Allow yourself to shift weight in the hips and see where it feels most neutral for you without any pulling at the top of the sit bones. You can always soften in the knees as much as you need to. If you're comfortable, you can reach behind and grab that inner thigh. And check in with the neck and the jaw and the throat. One more breath there. And then as you exhale, release your hands back down to the floor under your shoulders. Walk everything around back to the front of the mat. Both hands down and just step back to downward facing dog. Waving vinyasa. Inhale, lift the heels, round in the back, pushing everything forward. Exhale, lower the hips, lift the chest through. Now a nice, comfortable upward facing dog. And that's a little counter pose each time for the twists. Exhale, pushing back to downward facing dog. One more time, lift the heels, round in the back. Everything moves forward and it's a sense of unfolding. Drag your hands back in upward facing dog. Keep the feet alive. Keep the relationship of the head and the neck alive. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. And just take a few breaths here, in and out, softening the neck. Making sure that you feel the power traveling from the hands through the arms, up into the upper core, so the serratus, the lats, the obliques. Don't let it jam up into the shoulders. One more breath there. And then as you exhale, bring the knees down to the floor, sit back on your heels and rest in child's pose.